welcome to eCommerce Australia. We have a great e-commerce founder story here coming up for you, a brand called Vibe Culture. The founder, Billy Parker, who's also now moved into 3PL and logistics, will get onto the journey of what made him decide that. So looking forward to tackling both the e-commerce founder, talking a bit about e-commerce and his business and how he's grown that, and then also the transition into a 3PL provider as well. So a big e-commerce Australia, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thanks for having me. Good to be on here.
Billy Parker, it's a good name.
It's
a
William
great
Parker,
name.
formerly known as William Parker, so it's pretty common.
Yeah, nice. It just rolls off the tongue, mate.
It does. It's easy, yeah.
And then the 3PL business, we'll start on the e-com business to start with, but the 3PL business is called Parker Express.
Yeah.
Easy.
I don't know. I was sitting with my business partner. I was like, you chat GPT trying to go through all these names, and he's like, just call it Parker something. I'm like, okay, like how can we tell people it's good and efficient and fast? And we're like, Express, done, Parker Express. Didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
No one even cares anyways, man, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we just went with it, just rolled with it and haven't had an issue. So
100%. Well, mate, that's how this podcast got its name, eCommerce Australia. I'm like, I am the least creative bloke you've ever met. And I'm sitting there going, what can I call it? You know, like you got, Nathan Bush, you got add to cart. And so, like, that's a pretty smart name. And then I'm like, no, I'm more of an SEO guy. It's going to e-commerce Australia be a good keyword.
good for search.
Yeah,
Good for search.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of people find this podcast, by searching e-commerce and Australian sort of stories or founders and wanting that more of Australian flavour. So
I'm sure I've seen it before too. Like before we spoke about it, 100% I would have listened to one because like that's something I'd look up.
Yeah, nice. So, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, mate, it's good to have you on the show.
Yep.
As I mentioned before we started recording, that your brand actually come up through our interview or our podcast episode with Terry Kearns from Make Them Talk. So she mentioned that you guys do some pretty awesome social media.
Yeah.
I think she helps with it. So might have been a free plug from Terry. But
Thanks,
but I thought we get you on the program since you're in the same building as me.
Yeah,
and
why not?
I met you a week ago. Mate, tell us a bit about Vibe Culture. How did that start? How long it's been going, and what's the actual product?
Yeah, man. Kicked off. So I've got a background of mining. So I come from northwest Queensland, a small town called Mount Isa.
Okay. Big town called Mount
Big
Isa.
town, yeah. I don't know what you consider big, but 18,000 people. So that might be big to some small towns. But they mine lead, zinc, and copper there. And I worked at a lead smelter. I was young early 20s. And I got injured on site, and they put me in an office for about 9 months. And I was just racking my brain in there. Like I used to work 4 days on, 4 days off. When I was 4 on, 4 off, like everyone in Mount Isa wants to get out. Like they want to start a business. Yeah, like everyone talks about it, but everyone gets trapped there. It's like it's pretty common there for people to get trapped and stay there forever. So everyone talks about how they're going to leave. No one ever does it. And I'd started all these dropshipping businesses on my days off. Then I got injured and I was stuck in the office. And I was just rocking up to work hungover. I was doing nothing for 9 months, literally nothing. And I had a mate who I'd done the dropshipping businesses with, and he was over in Japan, and he'd FaceTime me, and he's like, bro, you should see what it's like here. Like, the corporate scene is insane. Like, these guys, he was showing me, like, there's these pods that they'll go out, and then they'll just go and they'll drink, do their business deals or whatever, and then they'll just go sleep in these little pods in the city, and then wake up, go to 7-Eleven, get this shot called Havinia Dulcis. It's like a Japanese raisin tree extract. And what it does is just gets rid of all the toxins that alcohol puts in your body.
Right.
Obviously, like there might be a little bit of placebo with that, but they swear by it.
Yep.
I mean, it's like the pill from Limitless.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, right.
And these blokes will just go, they get changed or whatever, go to 7-Eleven, pump one of them, like huge industry for it over there.
Yep.
And then they go to work. And he's telling me about it. He's like, we've been on them, love them. We're going to the gym after a night out and all this. I was like, oh, bro, bring them back. Because I was like, look, we could maybe make a product out of this or something.
Yeah,
brought it back. And again, I don't know if it was placebo or not, but I fucking loved it. I was like, I want more of this.
Yeah.
And then from there, like, just every day I was just thinking, what can I do? What sort of product can I make out of this? I was researching in Australia who has this product. I found like one, and it was like a shitty product that you see in a server up the back with the Advil and all of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
with no dose or something.
Yeah, it was with all those.
No dose?
No dose, yeah. Nothing in the e-commerce space anyways.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of an idea around marketing and branding and all of that, enough to get a store up anyways. And I thought, fuck it, I made a few calls, hundreds of emails. First person to get back to me was a bloke here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I won't say his name, he was dodgy as hell, prices were crazy, but he was willing to help, and he sold me the dream. So I thought, fuck it. I had a bit of money saved, handed in my resignation, moved down here before I'd even tested the product.
Right.
I had a PT set. I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll be a PT until I get this brand up and off the ground.
Yeah, I did see you were a PT there, Good Life or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And that was basically, sorry to all my old clients. That was just basically to get the brand up and off the ground sort of thing.
Yeah. So what did you buy though? What did you buy? You said that you made a few phone calls. Who were you looking for? Like an investor or someone could help you turn an idea into a product, or
a food scientist, someone
food
who
scientist.
knew ingredients.
Okay,
someone who could bring this idea of comprisement of ingredients to life for me.
Okay.
And I didn't even know what the job role was I was looking for.
Yep.
But this bloke, he wasn't it, but he told me it was it, and it was enough for me to be like, fuck it, I trust him. I just jumped the gun and just moved straight here.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah. And so that so you moved here basically with what, like nothing, basically just
Nothing.
an idea and a dodgy food scientist.
Yeah, literally.
How
Didn't know
long-
a soul here.
How long till the product got sort of to market? Thanks for listening to eCommerce Australia. A quick note to let you guys know, I run my own e-commerce SEO agency in Melbourne, and we'd love to work with you and your brand in growing your organic traffic in 2025. We have a small but select and elite team. Click on the link in the show notes below to start your complimentary free audit. No obligation, just great advice. We'll give you a great overview and some directions for 2025 from a team who cares deeply about your success. Back to the show.
3 years, man. I thought it'd be 6 months, but it's fucking 3 years.
3 years.
It's never what you think it is. Well, the money that goes into it is crazy. The hoops you have to jump through, the compliance.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, by the time I was ready to launch it, I was like, I'm not afraid to tell people how I did this or document my journey, just because not too many people are going to try to copy it. They can try, but it's so fucking hard to get it out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, maybe for the brands that are already established, but for like a young person going in on their own, there's a lot you need to know. I think naivety was what got me through.
Yeah,
if
for
I'd have
sure.
known, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But naivety is kind of what drove me to get through and to get where I am now. So.
And then you sort of at some point you're almost that like committed to it. You're like, I've just got to keep going with this. I can't back out now.
100%. Like didn't come this far to get this far, sort of thing. Like there were times where I was like, fuck this. Like this sucks, man. Like I'm over it. Then I think, I've put so much money and work into it, and glad I stuck it out. But times where it was really tough in those 3 years, just having money to fund things.
Yeah. When did you realize that guy was dodgy?
After I spoke to other people in the industry and realized, his practices weren't fully following compliance. And this was like before it was out on the market, so I had to quickly change and move to another bigger facility in Sydney. But that's why it took 3 years as well.
Yeah.
Like I put all this money into it thinking I had this is reinventing the wheel in terms of functional electrolytes. This is a crazy new product, and then I couldn't put it out there because there were ingredients in there that couldn't be in there.
Okay.
So I had to restart from Sydney, and it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long's it been live in market for now? How long's the business been going?
Start of 2021.
Okay.
So well and truly by then, I was ready to go. I had all my marketing ready. I had all everything. Like we hit the ground running.
Nice. Yeah. So did you do any sort of pre-sale, or were you already running brand awareness? Kind of were you pushing a tease, product to come, or
Big
like
time.
Okay.
We had a big list before we started.
Okay, so you built a list.
Yeah, I built a list. I sponsored a lot of podcasts, and this is not early days, but like back then the podcast marketing was pretty freaking awesome. Like not everyone was doing fake podcasts for their marketing back then. So I was just jumping on all these podcasts that my audience would be listening to.
Yep.
Really big in the AFL and NRL scene.
Okay.
It was like young dudes drinking, training. It was perfect, and we built a really big list. And then we had a pretty successful launch as well from that. So
nice.
We hit the ground running. So I was grateful for that. Those 3 years, you'd hope so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good on you. And so it's still going strong today.
Still going strong.
Yeah.
We've made some pivots in terms of like marketing channels and stuff like that, just based off just where things are going and customer acquisition costs and stuff like that. But the pivots we've made are really positive ones.
Yeah. Can you talk us through that?
Absolutely, yeah. So we started off, still to this day we went for the whole like Red Bull approach. You know, they kind of, I know they have different flavors now, but 30 years ago, whenever they started, one product, one flavor, one size, that was it.
Yeah.
And they just marketed the shit out of that.
Yeah.
When we used to do drop shipping, we'd have 100 different products on our site, and I'd always think, fuck, it's hard marketing all these different clothing products.
Yeah.
I always used to think, if I had just one, I could just hone in on it and I could kill it. And then that's kind of what we went for. And I guess we had a lot of issues with our ad account because I don't know if you know, like with TGA products,
Yep.
you can get cut really easily.
Yep.
They're always monitoring you, always watching you. And it can even be like grey areas where you're not actually doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
You might slightly make a claim that's a little bit wrong. Not even wrong, just like that no one knows. Sort of thing.
It's a bit ambiguous.
Instead of saying may boost this, you say it can boost this.
Yeah,
you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
And it is ambiguous. So we had a lot of issues with it, our ad account getting banned, and then we'd appeal and ban, and TikTok as well, Facebook, Meta. So we're like, fuck, what can we do? And the pivot we made was go company wholesale. So we thought, we're not going to bring out a new product, we're just going to put it into sachets.
Okay.
I come from mining,
Yep.
as I mentioned. So I was like, fuck, let's try get in there. I had some contacts, and took about 12 months for us to do it. But then we finally got a few contracts in mining, which kind of saved us in those points where the ad account was getting banned.
Yeah, nice.
And that was huge for us. So that's kind of, I'd say, a big focus for us now because mining's massive.
Yeah.
Like, these companies are huge, and I'm not going to say the budgets are limitless, but like
They're pretty much limitless.
yeah. The guys that are ordering kind of don't really care about anything. You know what I mean? Like, they just click of a button sort of thing.
So are you targeting the people working in the mines or in that whole operation, or are you targeting the Rio Tintos and BHPs and the big mining companies that are having to sort of look after their staff? Like who's buying that? Is it a wholesale?
Bit of both.
Okay.
So kind of gone in backdoor with some of them, started small and gotten bigger, and then also just going for bigger contracts with big companies as well.
Okay. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Well, yeah, we had a bit of a start given that I'm from that industry and I had a lot of contacts, but
use whatever you can.
100%. Yeah, it got to the point where I was like, we didn't hit a wall, but things were sort of plateauing in terms of growth.
Yep.
And then you get to a point where you're like, what are we going to do? How are we going to what's the next step we're going to take?
Yeah.
We'd never even thought about retail or company wholesale. And then I thought, fuck mining. Like the only other products that are in the mines when I was there are shit. Like that. And that's not me just saying it. Like, any of the blokes there will say it. When I told them, like, we're trying to get in there, like, please do it because fuck, we're sick of this and this.
The Gatorades or whatever it is,
Well, Gatorade's not too bad. Just but they don't even have the powders for them there. They've just, the ones that they have powders for are ones from like 40 years ago that they haven't changed, full of sugar.
Yep.
Taste is okay, but like so fucking bad for you. And all the blokes out there are addicted to fucking Monster Energy and 9 coffees every night shift. So it was pretty easy to have a point of difference coming into that market.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment.
And then last question before we get into the sort of the 3PL journey, that's obviously sort of transition from Vibe to kind of some frustrations, which we'll touch on.
Yep.
Terry mentioned something around the doing some social content that's blowing up for you. So is that another pivot that you had to make? Really, if Meta are banning your ad accounts, you have to get better at organic social, and how has that organic social kind of really helped the business as well?
Yeah, big time. I think it's nowadays the real push for brands is like authenticity.
Yeah,
because everyone's doing the same shit.
Yeah,
and people aren't buying from everyone trying to put on this, like we said before, like the fake catalogs and all of that. Like if I put up pictures of my product, no one's even it's gonna get no likes, no one's gonna look at it, no thumb stops, nothing. We put up videos of us trying to fight a BJJ champion and just drinking our product throughout it. Fucking slaps. Like, people love that shit. Yeah, and I watch that shit too. It started, we had one like a year ago. I think it nearly got 1 million views, and it was just me and Cash Out. He's the guy I put in all the content. He's the guy also that got that product in Japan and brought it back for me.
Right,
so he's the one that kind of started it with me. It was me and him on a night out in Richmond and just drinking, and then I just filmed him dancing, but I signed him up to a half marathon the next day and he didn't know.
Oh, right.
And I told him at like 3 a.m. when we were like pulling up, and he's like, fuck, I don't know if I'll make it. And then like I gave him all the information, and then I rocked up the next day, and then he rocked up. And we just kind of like used our product and all of that, and like blew up. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So we just, from there, we've done like heaps and heaps of challenges. Now we just like, we'll do a sport without training. Like, we've run ultra marathons, we've done powerlifting, we've done chess tournaments, we've done everything. Yeah. Just with no training, we just use our product at the start to kind of plug it, and then it's just fun and engaging. You know what I mean? People like to see that stuff.
Entertaining. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with a powder product. You know what I mean? Like I've done everything I can possibly do. Like, let's make some fun content that people actually want to watch.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
No, good stuff. I'll check out the socials.
Yeah, have a
Is
look,
it
man. You'll
Vibe
like
Culture on Insta or TikTok? Or?
Yeah, Vibe Culture on
okay.
both. Yep,
Yep.
just one word. Yep.
Brilliant, mate. We'll check that out. And so, we were talking in preparation for the podcast here, and you said that at some stage you come into some frustrations with, picking and packing and order fulfillment.
Yep.
And so much the frustration becomes so big that you actually started your own 3PL business now.
Yep.
Talk us through what were the frustrations that made you start that 3PL, and then we'll get into from a listening point of view and an audience point of view, really to try and understand what they should be looking for when looking for a 3PL and when the right time is. But what was the pain points that triggered you to say, we could do a better job here?
Yeah, I think the pain points were kind of when you're small, like obviously like everyone, I started in the garage, just doing it from there. No issues, like super grateful actually when I was doing that. I was like, I'm getting orders, this is awesome, I love doing it. But it gets to a point when you are starting to scale and you're doing like, you've got 20, 30, 40 orders coming through a day and I was working a full-time job, like you can't do it. And then I can't, my attention's gone from everything else, the marketing and all of that. So when I did start reaching out to a lot of 3PLs, same thing, I just got a quote from 10 of them, tried to get a quote from 10 of them. I reached out to, like, I swear every single one in Melbourne. When you mentioned All Mates 3PL he goes through, I'm surprised I didn't know them. They must be quite new because I swear I reached out to every single one there was.
Yeah.
Even in Sydney. And I just didn't hear back because, like, a lot of them you have to put in on the form, like, your volume. Okay. And I reckon, I know, majority of them, if your volume's not, 150 a day or whatever, they don't really care. Like, there's not care factor is probably the big one. And being a small player, it's hard to even have a 3PL, like, listen to you when you want it because it's nothing to them, you know what I mean? We ended up finding one. It was just like a bit of a dingy one out in like Heidelberg West, like in the industrial area there. And I guess the issues around that were more so just like a lot of the time with customers, they'll place an order, put the wrong address in. Nearly every day you'll get that, given that you've got orders coming through. And you need to quickly change it. And I'd reach out to these guys and then I'd get sent through to offshore customer service. 2 days later, they'd get back to me, 2 business days. I'd tell them what it is and they'd be like, okay, I'm just going to reach out to the warehouse manager. I'm like, man, I would love to just have this guy's number. But I've been with about 3 or 4 3PLs and it's the same thing every single time. And that was easily the biggest frustration because then I've got like, like I said, there'd be heaps every single day putting the wrong addresses in. And then they'd back up, it'd be logged up, and it's just so stressful. Like customers just coming at you. So that was pretty stressful. That's the first one. I guess on top of that, like there was tons. Just in terms of same day shipping as well. I think we spoke about that. That's not always guaranteed. Like that's kind of dependent on where you are and the product. But the main one I think is customer service. That's probably the biggest issue.
It's so important as well, right? It's you can do so much right in terms of your marketing and your messaging and you're paying for acquisition costs to get new customers. You're doing everything right, and then it comes to the 3PL, and if they let you down, the customer has a bad experience. You lose that customer.
100%.
So it's just vital that sort of the pick pack and even the communication around that and that sort of last mile delivery is super important in eCom. So then you felt those frustrations and you thought, we could do a better job ourselves.
Well, it took a few years for that to set.
Just the pain build up and you just go, there's got to be a better way.
100%. We did a bit of everything. Like we definitely didn't jump into it straight away. But customers want their orders yesterday, and we were with the first one. I got fed up with them. I'm like, I can't do this. Heard recommendations from another one, moved to them, and then realised like a lot of these guys aren't even, not slagging on anyone, but like a lot of these guys don't even have their own warehouse. They're just kind of like they'll contract to a warehouse. They've got the brand there. But there's been times where I went to an expo. We were at South by Southwest year before last, and we had like a bunch of stock we had to take back to the warehouse, and I just looked it up where it was, and I went there, looked up the name of the 3PL I used, and I couldn't find them. And it turned out they didn't actually even exist. They just went through another big warehouse, and that warehouse's staff fulfilled it. So
Oh,
that's
really?
why
Okay.
when I tried to reach out to them, I could never get through to them because they actually, in a way, didn't exist. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
just contract to these big ones.
Yeah.
They're just marketing their own
White label almost.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
is white labeling logistics.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we went in-house. Then just based off climate, didn't want to have these fixed costs above our head. Went back to 3PL, and then I just got fed up. There was a time where we were just backed up with orders. I think it was a Black Friday as well. Stressful as,
Well,
what it's like. And I was like, I'd always spoke about it. I was talking to a friend, and I was like, man, I am fed up with all these issues I'm having through 3PL. And this guy's got a labour hire company, very successful, young dude too. And he's like, well, why don't you just start your own? I was like, I don't understand logistics at all. All I know is how to fulfill my orders. He's like, well, I totally understand it. And it's all my business has ever been. He's like, I get it. He's like, let's start our own. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And
Nice.
then, we'd registered the company within 2 weeks, and then we were straight into it. And I had a lot of brand friends that were feeling the same frustrations around their 3PLs and logistics.
Yep.
And it's an easy sell. Like, our point of difference is we just do the small things really fucking good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if you want to say you've got a product and you're shipping it with us, wrong address comes in, or you need an order changed or anything, you can just reach out to our pick and packers through WhatsApp like that straight away right now. They're working right now. You know what I mean? You don't need to go through customer service and then wait 2 days, go to the manager, to the pick and packers. Like, just go straight to the pick and packers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight through the fluff. Like,
cut all the red tape and the bureaucracy and the systems that
oh man,
the bigger, more established guys.
Yep.
I guess if you're spending a certain amount through some of those 3PLs that you probably get that service, but small and medium business definitely not.
Nah, not at all. And I think we do appeal to them a lot more. We get a lot of startups coming through, and obviously they can always be a gamble, but like, you got to give everyone a chance. And we're obviously not the most established that there is.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was trying to get a 3PL, I'd looked plenty of times before, and everyone says the rule of thumb is 15 to 20 orders a day.
Okay.
But sometimes doing 15 to 20 orders a day, if you're slow with your fulfillment and dispatch in your garage or wherever you're doing it, it's fucking hard work. Man.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's hard work. Like, sometimes you're willing to take a loss and pay for every order that's processed just to get rid of it and outsource it. You know what I mean? So if people come to us, they're like, yeah, look, if you're happy to pay it, then jump on board, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't turn anyone away.
So, we got a really great e-commerce community that listen to this podcast. What do they need to be looking out for when looking for a 3PL, or perhaps they're already using a 3PL and they're not happy? What are some of the common mistakes that you can make when looking for a 3PL provider, or what do you think is really important? Whether or not they go with Parker Express or whatever the 3PL is, what's important to get right when you're looking for or interviewing your next 3PL?
I think transparency is a big one. Like, you need to know where you're going. If you're small, and we all have projected growth, we all assume that we're going to grow and blow up and all of that. But it's really important to understand what you're paying for. Like, there's a lot of them that will just they won't itemize the costs. It'll just be like courier rates, processing, pick pack, all of that is together. Yeah. And you're paying like $16, $17, per order, and like, you don't need to be paying that. Like, a lot of the time it's just they make it look really sexy. But a lot of the time that's where they're making their money. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you want transparency from whoever your 3PL is, and you want them to break everything down so they're not really taking the piss. And when you are small, they're going to take the piss because they don't know how else to make money from you because you might not have the volume. You know what I mean? And then as you grow, then consistently reassess and renegotiate with your 3PL, because if there's volume, then like, being fully transparent, like, the money is made a lot of the time on the courier rates, because obviously your 3PL gets really cheap courier rates because they have the accounts. Yeah. Sometimes we have clients that have come through and they want to use their own rates, just plug them into our systems, and that's fine. No issue with that. Yep. And a lot of 3PLs will probably hate hearing that. Because, but like, you got to be transparent with them. And if you want them to stay around, then that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah. Okay. And then on top of that, you got to know where your audience is too. Yeah. You really want to hone in on the same day. Your audience is in New South Wales, then obviously look for a 3PL in Sydney. Yeah. So we're building up a Sydney one now. Okay.
Where are you based here? In Melbourne? Whereabouts?
Laverton.
Okay.
Laverton North.
Pipe Road?
What's that?
Not Pipe Road, is it?
No.
Okay.
You're familiar with that one?
I know. Yeah, I know Pipe Road well. As a 2 times you warehouse in Pipe Road.
I've drove past it. I honestly had never had to go out there until we got the warehouse out here.
Yeah,
like never. Yes, it's not my hood at all.
Yeah.
I rarely go over the bridge, but for this. So,
So how does that then? So if they're looking for a, if they're going to take that advice on board, how would they ask that? Is it just can I see a list of can I see a bill, or how do you itemize each line item within the process? Just ask those questions to anyone when you go and interviewing for a 3PL.
It's hard to get it though.
Yeah. But that could be a flag in itself though, right?
Yeah, big time, 100%. If it's
like if they ask you, you give it, like you'll show an itemized bill with everything there. It's like, we're completely 100% transparent.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't, all of a sudden that is a red flag already. So just asking the question, you may have uncovered something.
Big time. You've got to give them your volumes and all of that first.
Yeah.
And then obviously everyone's getting a custom quote. There's no just like price sheet they give you. No one's going to get that. If you're small, then the rates are going to get bumped up a little bit. Obviously, it's how all businesses work.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, just as long as they're breaking it down for you, that's all that really matters. That's pretty much the main thing. I think one thing. Have you seen Air?
Yeah.
Awesome movie. It's like my favorite movie.
Is it?
Do you know? I don't know his name like in real life, but the Matt Damon, the guy, like the main character, Matt Damon.
Yeah.
When he's talking to Michael Jordan's mum, and he's like, "You're going to go into Adidas and the Converse meeting."
Yep.
And I know they're going to say this, they're going to say that. They all say the same thing. And then she goes into it and they say exactly what he says. And then that kind of builds trust for her to Matt Damon, and then she ends up going with him.
Yeah.
It's easy to do a similar thing in this industry because we had these guys from they're line painting. Like they do they produce the paint that all the roads are.
Oh, really?
With. Yeah. It's from India. And
what a business.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. They're huge. And they come over to see us, and they're only here for like 3 days. And I was chatting to them, and they're like, yeah, we, our plan was to see as many as we could while we're here. And I was like, how many did you reach out to? And they're like, oh, we reached out to like 25 or 30. And I was like, none got back to you. And they're like, nah, just you and another one. I was like, I knew it. I was like, none of them do. I was like, they'll snob you unless you're High Smile, or one of these massive brands. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Adidas. Like, you're that's what I was saying. Like, if you're a small player, medium player, these guys weren't small. Like, they were big, but they're more B2B, and like, they just don't want to deal with it unless you're a unicorn sort of thing. So it's another point of difference. Like, just open to anyone. Yeah. Business is business. We don't care. So.
Yeah. Okay. So when's the Sydney one going to be open then?
By June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Possibly before that. But I always just say a little bit later because I don't want to.
Under
deliver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in terms of like industry predictions, like where do you see that 3PL industry going over the next 5 years? Have you got any kind of thoughts on how that industry is going to evolve? Obviously, there's driverless cars, there's drones, there's obviously AI is coming in, and probably something we haven't touched on, but the AI process or the AI automation within picking and packing in the 3PL service, like. It's probably quite a changing kind of area to get some more efficiencies. But how are you trying to stay ahead of the trends and kind of future proof the 3PL business?
It's for starters, it's fucking expensive. That stuff is crazy, and we're like always getting emails about new products from China of what they're doing to innovate the industry and all of that. And there is some crazy machinery out there, AI driven, that people are using to get ahead of the game. Me and my partner went to the logistics expo that was at the convention center in November.
Yep.
And just seeing some of the things they have there, like these big machines that there's going to be a time very, very soon where, and Amazon's probably already doing it, where you don't need any staff. Like, it's just so unnecessary. And these machines, I look at them and I'm like, because I'm not on the floor working, and I've never actually myself fully worked in a 3PL warehouse. I know how it all works, but like sometimes I look at these machines and I'm just like, how does that even work? Like, how does this thing go? And like, it's just plugged into Shopify, comes in, and like it does everything. Oh, it's crazy. I think you mentioned in the notes about the drones and stuff like that. That's obviously going to cut costs, and that's obviously going to speed up the process of delivery. So that's probably not too far away. If it's not, it's happening with DoorDash. So
Imagine
dude.
it like just drones fly. Like it's going to happen, isn't it? Drones are just going to be flying around
I'm looking up, just seeing
delivering
thousands
packages.
of drones.
Yeah,
And it's just like, my Bonds jocks I ordered or something. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's insane. But definitely the way it's going. And in warehouses, like, there's even a lot of the guys here that I've seen that are investing in some of this big, crazy machinery, and it's obviously very expensive, but cut costs of staff, so it's where people are going, I think.
Yeah. Do you reckon that price of that 3PL price and the the cost associated with that will come down for e-commerce retailers, or do you think the cost will be the same because they're investing into all this tech from their 3PL providers? Like, do you think it'll get cheaper over the next 5 years?
Yeah, big time. Because it's, like I said, it's very expensive, but I think for the bigger ones,
They can wear it.
it'll be a much bigger ROI on the investment for them.
Yeah, okay.
Smaller ones, like even us, like we're not going to go crazy with any of that stuff. There's some small things that we can definitely use and utilize, but again, just the point of difference with a lot of it is just the small things for us.
What are those small things? I mean, you mentioned customer service
Yeah.
being one, and the ability to be able to just text someone on WhatsApp group. Are there any other kind of those 1 or 2 percenters that we haven't touched on?
So there's that. There's communication.
Yeah.
Another big one is just I guess flexibility. Like, because we're not massive. If you want custom packaging, if you need this, like, there's a lot of the big ones you have to have, like with your inbound stock, it's got to come in. It's got to follow their exact process. There can't be any tinkering or assembling or nothing like that. If you need something assembled or deassembled or whatever it might be, we can do that. So I guess it's the flexibility around whatever your product is.
Yep.
Not all products are the same. We have a company that we do where they've got like these cups, and they're like these pretty little coffee cups, and you have to get the lid and you have to get the cup and you have to get the straw and put them together. Like, a lot of these big ones probably can't do that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Even thank you notes, like handwritten thank you notes. Those little things go a long way. They're the silver lining in the 1%ers, but to a brand, and especially to a small business, that's really important, and customers love that stuff. I guess just a bit of personality in the brand is really important, and I think all e-commerce brands that do use that is their point of difference as well.
Okay.
So,
100%. And so, just as we wrap up, mate, like who's the ideal brand that would suit Parker Express? Like, what are they? How many orders are they doing? I know you said it's kind of anyone and everyone can kind of fit in, but is there since you guys have been operating, is there a sweet spot where it's a certain amount of orders, or it's a certain demographic, or it's a certain product size, or like what? Yeah, what's your message to people listening to? That are contemplating kind of going with another 3PL provider like yourself?
I'd say, man, you're doing 100 orders a month.
Yeah.
Send us a message. You're over it. Send us a message. And that can be anything, whether it's like you said before, skincare, clothing. Clothing's obviously the entry is quite low, so a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
But if you've got a good brand, you can blow it up. Same thing. Clothing is so painful as well in terms of logistics because there's a million SKUs. There's so many SKUs. But you're doing 90, 100 orders. We're happy to take anyone on board. And our rates aren't through the roof. We don't try to fuck people over. It's just trying to give people a start, help out, and then their success is our success. That's the thing with these brands. Like, we take a small brand on and they blow up. So do we, because being fully transparent, we're making money off every single order that comes through as well. You know what I mean? And the customer wears it because that's within the shipping majority of the time. Anyone doing 90 to 100 orders, anything with a product, we don't care what it is. You can be B2B, you can be anything. We take on absolutely anyone. There's no real niche that we're going for.
Yeah.
It can be, like I said, skincare, it could be beverages, it can be anything. Like, I've got my own beverage company, and we do mine. Like, obviously, no one's too big or too small. So
nice. And I think on that, like, you're an e-commerce founder yourself, so you understand how important those little things are.
Yes.
And you understand how one order going wrong can really kind of upset the whole business, and one upset customer gives you a bad Google review. Like, it can really spiral out of control. So I think, having you, live it, breathe it, understand it, have an e-commerce business yourself, I think is a really good point as well, because you sort of get it rather than the bigger guys that don't give a stuff.
Yeah, well, at the start, when we started, I was like, what can I even do here? Like, I don't know logistics, but then I understand all of it. You know what I mean? I know exactly what my customer wants. And if you know that, then you've got a huge advantage. I know the frustrations. I know what I need. I know what my customers need. and it's pretty much all the same for anyone in ecom. You know what I mean? So, we get it, sort of thing. That's our point of difference.
Beautiful, mate.
Yeah.
Well, excited. Thank you for jumping on, and it's good to learn more about Vibe culture. I'm gonna have to grab some of that stuff myself.
I've got some upstairs, mate, if you want it.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, pop past.
Do you have to? Is it not just for hangovers though, right? I'm assuming it's like if you just wake up and you just want a bit of an extra kick or feel better. It's
electrolytes to hydrate you. It's got adaptogens in there to make you feel better.
Nice.
And a little bit of caffeine for the kick. So it's just everything you need for a bit of a pick me up, but replenishes you at the same time.
Beautiful. So I'm going to grab myself some of that, and then if you are looking for a 3PL provider, then look up Parker Express and send them a note. And how long does it take to get up and running with you guys?
Mate, you hit us up. It's today, Friday. We could have you running by Monday.
Okay.
Yep.
Jeez, that's good. Yeah. In and out, no muck around.
100%.
Customer service is everything, mate.
Yes.
Thanks for jumping on and sharing your journey.
Me,
and looking forward to watching Parker Express roll out in Sydney, and hope the Melbourne one continues to fire.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Champion.
Good. Cheers, bro.
Thank you, mate.
Awesome.